A couple of months earlier, the blue screen of death attacked my Nintendo Switch, so I decided to move on and give Borderlands 3 a try. Despite the fact that I've never played a game in the Borderlands series, because back in the day I was saving money to get the hell out of my parents' house, I made up my mind to buy it because all of the good stuff one of my closest friends had told me about Borderlands in the last decade, especially when he got mad with every new Destiny expansion. So I pre-ordered Borderlands 3, watched a couple of videos to catch up with the story, and that marked the beginning of a 47-hour journey through Borderlands 3 that I have enjoyed a lot, but with a few nasty facepalms along the way. Borderlands 3 takes you in the role of one of 4 vault hunters, some sort of space pirate that seeks to find one of the many secret vaults hidden in planets where great loot awaits. You join the Crimson Raiders in Planet Pandora, a group of former vault hunters led by Lilith, who will race against the evil Calypso Twins and their army to discover a key to the map of the next vault. Obviously, this story has a lot of tiny little details that will click with big-time fans of the series, but as a noob, this feels like a really flat plot. Well, no, flat is even a compliment, the story is bad. And this is the part where something you may have heard about comes into play, and it's the Borderlands humor. Man, I don't know if this is some sort of acquired taste, but I really hated the way the humor feels during the game the entire time. Unlike many other games or movies where there is usually one funny character that serves as a comic relief that soothes the plot, Borderlands 3 is saturated with these wannabe type of characters. And the problem is not that there are too many comedians in one place, it's the fact that only few of them feel genuinely funny. And by genuinely I mean like it is part of their personality and they're not trying to be funny. Through the course of the 30-ish hour campaign, you will meet an array of allies through the galaxy that will help you in your battle against the Calypso Twins, and only very few of them stand for not being over the top all the time. Almost every single one of them wants to tell the next cringe-worthy joke, but as much as I try to be open to that humor, it never actually made me laugh. I know the comparison is weird, but I had more sincere laughs with many of the NPCs of Judgment or Yakuza because of the great writing and how unique the dialogues felt to every character. In Borderlands 3, for me, there are notable exceptions like Claptrap, a tiny egocentric robot, and Ellie, a mechanic with a southern accent. Both of them had more than a couple of moments that made me draw a smile in the right time in the story. And there's also Lilith, the leader of the Crimson Raiders, which is not funny, but whose cold but strong personality served as a soothing moment to breathe among all that nonsense. The villains in the story, Troy and Tyreen, the Calypso Twins, suffer with the same personality flaw. I don't know if this is because they are portrayed as YouTubers/streamers, but the writers tried to tie them to the "we will do anything for views" kind of internet personality, and this is not the case to all of the top creators in either platform. And even though you get interesting backstory for both of them, I never felt a real threat or sense of urgency to kill them besides the possibility of them to finally shut up. Overall, don't expect any wild story surprises or an intense climax. Don't buy Borderlands 3 for a great narrative experience. There are a lot of better games out there, but what you can really expect is a fantastic gameplay. Without doubt, the most interesting and entertaining thing about Borderlands 3 is the gameplay. The first reason is one you will notice immediately, and is the refined and polished gunplay. It is so satisfying to use one of the hundreds of different guns that are available, whether we are talking about a classic assault rifle, a rapid-fire pistol, a bursting energy SMG, a devastating shotgun, or a nasty rocket launcher. All of them feel fantastic to use. Perhaps the only downside are the scope weapons that I really feel that they don't belong and they don't have a real use in the game, because almost all of the combat is done in small to medium sections of the map. The variety of weapons is really something we need to applaud to the team of Gearbox Software, because each of them feels really unique and special. And I'm not talking about the cool legendary drops that occur every now and then, which are amazing in general. Even a common weapon can give a real sense of joy when it's found. Every hour or so I would pause the game, just to check all the new stuff that I had acquired, and sometimes I had a difficult time deciding which ones to keep and which ones to discard. This was a great surprise because this endless loot loop is combined with new enemy types, locations to explore, and missions that make the 30-something hours of campaign feel like a breeze. In my 5 years of playing Destiny, I haven't had that feeling of joy over every new gun, and that was really impressive for me. Another part of this great formula is the flexibility that you have in terms of loadout and character selection. Each one of the 4 different Vault Hunters that you select at the beginning of the story has something unique and different that may appeal to a lot of different playstyles. A powerful Siren, a mech soldier, Beastmaster, or a tech-savvy guy, each with their own unique special abilities and 3 different skill trees to choose from, bring a lot of options to the game. In my playthrough, I went with Zane, the tech guy, and I gotta tell ya, having a cool robot flying through the air bombarding my enemies while I flanked them was amazing. If I got tired of that, I could switch to my Digiclone to confuse enemies by swapping positions, or even try a more solo approach by using the digital barrier that blocked enemy shots. The fact that Zane had the option to use 2 of these abilities at the same time made the power fantasy and overall combat very satisfying and really kept me going. I am usually someone that only plays the game once and then moves on, but having this kind of fun with just one of the 4 characters made me seriously consider trying the other 3 Vault Hunters on new runs of the game because I want to experience the story with their unique style. Now, although all of this sounds great, there are a few things that I really did enjoy. First one, which is kinda dumb and perhaps I'm exaggerating a little bit, was the fact that for the first half of the game I was opening a ton of boxes, bridges, ammo and loot crates to get ammunition, health or shield. It felt really ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. It made the rhythm of the story missions feel very slow and frustrating, especially during boss fights where I just wanted to keep fighting, not running around looking for a box because all of my mags were empty. This feeling was gone by the second half of the game when I bought ammo upgrades for each weapon, but I can't stress this enough for new players. Perhaps my biggest complaint are the bullet sponge bosses. With only a couple of exceptions, all of the bosses in this game are boring. They look cool, but yeah, it's always the same. Shoot, empty the clip, reload over and over and over again. No interesting mechanics, just a big red bar waiting to be drained. Depending on your gear, this can be either too easy or difficult to overcome, and here's when I noticed the fact that most of this game is easier and more enjoyable if you have a friend or use the matchmaking available. This feeling of difficulty scales once you get to the endgame where you can enter any of the cool activities like the Proving Grounds, a sort of mini dungeon with multiple encounters, or the Slaughterhouse, where you face wave after wave after wave of enemies. And if you want to make things even more difficult, there is Mayhem Mode, where you get increased difficulty via modifiers which give buffs to your enemies and nerf the efficiency of your weapons and abilities, but give better rewards, in-game currency, and XP. Any of these are far more enjoyable with a good squad, but for those solo players that enjoy a good challenge, they will certainly find this a great thing to look forward to. The last thing I want to mention is how Borderlands 3 compares to other live services looter shooter games that are available right now, like Destiny 2, The Division, or Warframe. I think this game is kinda like lost in time or just refusing to take a step into the heavy competition that a live service provides. There's a season pass and a vague roadmap that show some of the stuff that you will get after the game launches, like free events and 4 campaign DLCs. But I think it is lacking in substance if you compare it, for example, to Destiny 2, which has a ton of content and events being poured every season, milestones, competitive playlists, and even the complex raids that come every now and then and challenge the most hardcore players. I think some new players to the franchise like me can feel a little bit disappointed on this side, as this can be a game that you play like for 2 or 3 months and then never touch again. If you're looking for a looter shooter that can become a hobby for a long time, I am talking about years, I would suggest maybe checking any of those free, because I think you get a more rewarding experience that can last for years. Borderlands 3 knows what works for them and their fans, but I think they played it too safe here in terms of what the market is doing nowadays. In conclusion, Borderlands 3 is a really solid game. If this had a better story, I would, with no doubt, consider it a clear contender for Game of the Year. But the annoying characters and story development make the game fall a little bit short in that category. You will easily get 40 hours of fun just doing the campaign and exploring for extra stuff in each of the planets. But if you want to squeeze every ounce of gameplay with multiple characters, you have a great option to invest your money while having a lot of fun. Hope this Noob review was useful. If so, don't forget to leave a like or consider subscribing to the channel for more helpful guides and Noob reviews for the biggest AAA titles in the market. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.